Hello, tigers. I wish we could be together in the library, but it looks like we'll have to wait until the fall to do that. It'll come fast. You'll see. Today we're going to read a story, a legend about the bluebonnets. Does anybody know what a legend is? Yes, a legend explains something in nature. This is the legend of how the bluebonnets came to be. It's a made-up story to explain how bluebonnets came to be. Okay, let's get started. The title of the book is The Legend of the Bluebonnet, an old tale of Texas, retold and illustrated by Tommy DePaola. Okay, there's a nice picture of a bluebonnet right there. He is also the illustrator in this book. He is a very talented author and illustrator. There's another picture of the bluebonnet. It is published by Paper Star, the Putnam and Gossett Group. Great spirits, the land is dying. Your people are dying too, the long line of dancers sang. Tell us what we have done to anger you. End this drought. Save your people. Tell us what we must do so you will send the rain that will bring back life. Okay, maybe some of you know, but a drought is a period of time, a long period of time when there is no rain. And without rain, food cannot grow. Okay, let's keep going. For 3 days, the dancers danced to the sound of the drums. And for 3 days, the people called Comanche watched and waited. And even though the hard winter was over, no healing rains came. Drought and famine are the hardest on the very young and the very old. Among the few children left was a small girl named She Who Is Alone. She sat by herself watching the dancers. In her lap was a doll made from buckskin, a warrior doll. The eyes, nose, and mouth were painted on with the juice of berries. It wore beaded leggings and a belt of polished stone. On its head were brilliant blue feathers from the bird who cries, Jay, Jay, Jay. She loved her doll very much. See if I can give you a better picture of that doll. You can see the blue feathers. And her name is She Who Is Alone. Wonder why she's named that. Maybe it'll tell us. Let's see. Soon, She Who Is Alone said to her doll, the shaman will go off alone to the top of the hill to listen for the words of the great spirits. Then we will know what to do so that once more the rains will come and the earth will be green and alive. The buffalo will be plentiful and the people will be rich again. As she talked, she thought of the mother who made the doll, of the father who brought the blue feathers. She thought of the grandmother and the grandfather she had never known. They were all like shadows. It seemed long ago that they had died from the famine. The people had named her and cared for her. The warrior doll was the only thing she had left from those distant days. Okay, so that must be where she got her name. She Who Is Alone. She didn't have a family. They all died in the famine. And all she has left to remember him is that doll. Let's see. The sun is setting, the runner called as he ran through the camp. The shaman is returning. The people gathered in a circle and the shaman spoke. Here's a shaman right here. I have heard the words of the great spirits, he cried. The people have become selfish. For years they have taken from the earth without giving anything back. The great spirits say the people must sacrifice. We must make a burnt offering of the most valued possession among us. The ashes of this offering shall then be scattered to the 4 points of the earth, the home of the winds. When the sacrifice is made, drought and famine will cease. Life will be restored to the earth and to the people. The people sang a song of thanks to the great spirits for telling them what they must do. So they want a burnt offering, a burnt sacrifice. They have to burn something that is precious to them, a possession. Okay, so think about possessions. What do you have that is precious to you? Something you own. I'm sure it is not my new bow that the great spirits want, a warrior said. See, that must be him right there. Or my special blanket, a woman added, as everyone went to their teepees to talk and think over what the Great Spirit had said. See, they have, this is a precious possession. He loves his bow. She loves her blanket. Everyone, that is, except she who is alone. She held her doll tightly to her heart. You, she said, looking at the doll, you are my most valued possession. It is you the Great Spirits want. And she knew what she must do. What do you think she thinks she needs to do? What do you think is going to happen? What is your prediction? Let's go. As the council fires died out and the teepee flaps began to close, the small girl returned to the teepee where she slept to wait. What's going to happen? The night outside was still, except for the distant sound of the nightbird with the red wings. Soon everyone in the teepee was asleep, except she who was alone. Under the ashes of the teepee fire, one stick still glowed. She took it and gently and quietly crept out into the night. What do you think she's going to do with that fire stick? Let's see what your prediction is and see who is right. She ran to the place on the hill where the Great Spirits had spoken to the shaman. Stars filled the sky, but there was no moon. "Oh, Great Spirit," she who is alone said, "here is my warrior doll. It is the only thing I have from my family who died in this famine. It is my most valued possession. Please accept it." Oh my goodness. Let's see what happens here. Then, gathering twigs, she started a fire with a glowing fire stick. The small girl watched as twigs began to catch and burn. She thought of her grandmother and grandfather, her mother and father, and all the people, their suffering, their hunger. And before she could change her mind, she thrust the doll into the fire. Oh my goodness, how do you think she feels right now? Maybe she is being very brave. Do you think she feels brave or do you think she feels sad? See. She watched until the flames died down and the ashes had grown cold. Then, scooping up a handful, she who was alone scattered the ashes to the home of the winds, the north and the east, the south and the west. And there she fell asleep until the first light of the morning sun awoke her. Oh my goodness, look what she has in her hands. She looked out over the hill, and stretching out from all sides, where the ashes had fallen, the ground was covered with flowers, beautiful flowers, as blue as the feathers in the hair of the doll, as blue as the feathers of the bird who cries, "Jay, Jay, Jay." What kind of flowers are those? That's right, bluebonnets. When the people came out of their teepees, they could scarcely believe their eyes. They gathered on the hill where she who was alone let me try that part again. They gathered on the hill with she who was alone to look at the miraculous sight. There was no doubt about it. The flowers were a sign of forgiveness from the Great Spirit. And as the people sang and danced their thanks to the Great Spirits, a warm rain began to fall, and the land began to live again. From that day on, the little girl was known by another name, one who dearly loved her people. How do you think she got that name? One who dearly loved her people. Okay, because she sacrificed her prized possession, right? Her doll. And every spring, the Great Spirits remember the sacrifice of a little girl and fill the hills and valleys of the land, now called Texas, with the beautiful blue flowers, even to this very day. Look at all those bluebonnets. How many of you have ever seen a bluebonnet? I have, in the fields and alongside the roads. Okay, so let's talk about prized possessions. Okay, things that you own. It's not usually something that's living, it's usually just a thing. Okay? Think about a prized possession that you have, one that is very valuable to you. Maybe not worth a lot of money, but it's valuable to you. Okay, let me show you my prized possession, one of my prized possessions. This right here is a sweater, as you can see. Duh. Can you see the sweater? Get it going up like that. You can't see it very well. Okay, you can see it pretty good. This sweater is one that was made by my grandmother. So it is a prized possession for me. I want you to think of a prized possession that you have. Let's do a little activity with our prized possession. Okay? First, I want you to follow these steps. What is and who gave it to you? Okay, I have the sweater that was given to me by my grandma Anderson. Then think about why it is your most prized possession. That's my most prized possession because my grandma made it. And then, what would cause you to give it up? Okay, she, who was alone, gave up her doll to save her people. Okay, you got those questions in your head? Okay, now let me show you what I did with it. Okay, so I took a piece of paper, obviously here, and I drew a picture, okay? And then I answered each one of these questions. See, what it is and who gave it to you. When I was born, my grandma Anderson knit me a pink baby sweater. Okay? And the next question I answered is in green. Why is it your most prized possession? This sweater is precious to me because my grandma died in 1984. 1984 was a long time ago, and I miss her a lot. I miss her every single day. Okay, the last part. What would cause you to give it up? Okay, if I was called to give up my possession, this prized possession, in what circumstances would I do that? So let's see what I wrote. I think the only way I would give it up is to save the life of one of my family members. So one of my family members was in danger or was sick, and somebody came and said, well, we'll save him if you give me the sweater your grandma knit you. I'd give it up because I love my family and they cannot be replaced. Okay, so if you would like to write that out and draw a picture of it, that would be appreciated. You can give it to your teacher and she'll send it to me, or you could even take a video of yourself talking about your prized possession and answer those questions and give it to her and she'll send it to me. Okay, until next week, I'll see you then. Stay safe and stay home.